we knew the fishery was in trouble when we started the show, but we didn't realize that it was going to coincide with when we did the show. So it was, for me, really sadly coincidental, because my family were fishermen, and it was really hard to see that happen at that time. I was at home, and I had a baby, and I had done a couple of shows. I had just come out of theater school, and I'd done a couple of shows, but it was looking like it was going to be a really long, dark winter. And at the time, the Hall had the Second Space series, or the SOS series, I can't remember what it was called, and they put out a call for applications. So I had grown up sort of seeing Benny Malone in, newspapers and the Newfoundland Herald and on TV. And I said to Chuck, who I was married to at the time, I said, wouldn't it be fun to do a clown show with Benny Malone? We'd just both graduated theater school, both done clowning, and had a tremendous love and admiration for it. And he said it would be amazing. So we got together with our friend Ken Murphy and sort of just kind of bounced some ideas around and pitched a show called Out of Work to Charlie here at the Hall, and they selected it. And so then we had to get Benny on board, because we had kind of pitched that we were going to work with Benny. So I said, okay, I'll ask him. So I don't even know how I found him, but I reached out and said, Benny, I'm a big admirer. Would you be interested? He wrote back, said, I have never, ever in my life been asked to direct someone else's show. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. So are you up for it? He said, absolutely. So he met with us. We fell in love instantly, and I've had a very long career working with Benny ever since. But the show was called Out of Work. And at that time, we had just come home from being in theater school, and it really felt like a very uncertain time. The fishery was definitely in a very precarious place. Most of my family were fishermen, so I was feeling the impact of that. Really worried as a young mother about how I was actually going to make a living in the arts, and then also knowing that the rest of my family, that their lives were kind of on this precipice of change. So it really figured unconsciously quite deeply into me. So when we were writing the show Out of Work, it was about retraining, trying to find work, a lot about how people had to leave here to go find work, because we had left to go to theater school and took a chance on coming back because we really loved it and wanted to have our careers here and wanted to raise our son here. So yeah, that show was very special to me because I knew that it was actually facing a lot of my fears for me and my family. It was really dealing with all the stuff that I was thinking about in my head at the time. And of course, as it turned out, that July when we went up, it did coincide with the announcement of the moratorium. It really felt like a very bleak time, and even doing the show became bleaker. It was a comedy. It felt so dark suddenly because we realized this is actually not that far off what people are going to go through now. We had, call in for your EI, and it was kind of a game and a comedy sketch based on that. But yeah, it really did take on a completely different tone after that announcement, and certainly for the next few years.